So 2022 started off kind of in a rough place. We were at the peak of the Omicron wave. We were all tired and anxious. We didn't know what was coming back, who was coming back, or what lay ahead. We did know that we had paid off our mortgage, and that was exciting, and we wanted to celebrate, but we had to hold off our celebration until May when we had a brunch. And looking back, we actually did a lot in 2022. Our Backpack Buddies ministry, which never really stopped, was back to normal and serving 80 kids a week at Catoctin Elementary School. The 4 United Women in Faith circles resumed in-person meetings. All of our committees, teams, continue to meet and serve, some moving back to in-person meetings, while many discovered that Zoom was actually a better way to meet. We continued to collect food for Loud and Hunger Relief. Our LUMC Loves GBP ministry prepared goodie bags for our Great Beginnings families. Every month, one family, group, or individual provided a meal for Loudon Homeless Services Center. Our youth continued to gather for activities monthly. On any given day here at LUMC, Great Beginnings Preschool has between 50 and 70 kids, plus 8 to 10 teachers, and one awesome director. And they were a Best of Loudon finalist in 2022. On any given day, we have 2 clergy and 3 full-time staff working to help you grow in your discipleship. On any given Sunday, there are half dozen or so people who keep everything flowing: ushers, counters, tech crew, greeters, hosts, everything to make worship run smoothly. On any given Sunday, there are usually kids hanging out in the balcony kid zone. In STEAM on Sundays, kids and youth learn Bible stories through science and technology. And our Sunday school class for younger kids helps them learn that Jesus loves them. Every week we have adult groups and classes. Some meet all year and others are short term. They've adapted to meet over Zoom and in person. We also have 3 part-time staff who lead our music ministries, including Raise and Praise, the Chancel Choir, and the Bell Choir. They rehearse during the week and arrive early on Sundays to warm up. In 2022, we found a new normal with our regular worship services as they settled into new rhythms after 2 years of instability. Our annual events also made a full comeback in 2022, including the Women in Friendship Dinner that was held in May, our GBP summer playgroups, camps, and kinder camp, Vacation Bible School, the annual youth mission trip, SPY. Mini SPY was back for the first time since 2019. United Women in Faith enjoyed gathering to make apple dumplings again. Great Beginnings adapted their pre-COVID 5K to a fun run this year. We provided angel tree gifts for 20 kids through the Salvation Army. The Christmas pageant was back in person with a little twist from what had been done in the past. People came together to decorate for Advent. The Advent prayer breakfast resumed after a 2-year hiatus. We celebrated Easter together, welcoming new traditions alongside the old. And by Christmas Eve, we were together with candles and smiles once again. But not everything was the same. It's important to note that more than ever, we have people engaging in our ministries, serving and giving, who are not regularly attending worship. We're all used to measuring worship as our primary metric, and we can see that attendance isn't what it once was. On this chart, we have worship attendance for 2022. I know there's a lot going on here. So the top green line is the total. The average for our year was 94 people participating in worship when we combine Arise, Chancel, and online worship. And to see where we were over time, the top chart is the in-person attendance from 2015 through 2022. The second chart is the same, and then it adds in the live stream. And so we can see that we are already trending downward. The last chart shows, I made like a hypothetical, if we didn't take that big dip out of 2021 because of the pandemic, our trajectory would have actually stayed the same. The pandemic didn't really accelerate or cause our decline. It did, however, accelerate our willingness to innovate and experiment. 3 years ago, live streaming worship was stuck in committee. It was really stuck. We continued, but when we had to, we had people that got it going in just 4 days, and now we've continued to connect with people. So after talking about it for years and years, we got new doors at the front of the church this year. And we also tried a lot of new initiatives. The Afghan Refugee Task Force began in late 2021 and was assigned a couple through Lutheran Social Services. The joint team, in cooperation with Mount Zion, was able to move a couple into a new space and furnish their apartment. They were expecting their first child within just a couple months, and the team organized a virtual baby shower so that they had everything they needed to welcome their baby. By using social media, gifts poured in from all over the country. After months of discernment meetings, the Reconciling Ministry Group was formed. The Story of LUMC display was set up in Wesley Hall for the mortgage celebration and throughout the summer. LUMC engaged the community through vigils and walks after violence in the Ukraine, Buffalo, and Uvalde, and participated in the Out of Darkness Suicide Prevention Walk. Bible displays with an escape room were set up in the AG for all generations to encounter the biblical story together. The Reconciling Group participated in the Loudon Pride event. We welcomed musicians and neighbors during the First Friday concert series. Great Beginnings Preschool started enrichment classes during Lunch Bunch, including art, dance, and STEM. We started up student holiday camps in response to the growing number of holidays within LCPS, and incorporated the Bible adventures, which families and confirmands also participated in. When the call went out for flood buckets, we provided 50, and we returned to marching in the Christmas parade. So now I want to go back to this chart. You can see that the overall attendance kind of declined again on the top line, but the in-person actually ticked up. Partly that was because people felt safer as the year progressed, but I want you to see that our in-person Arise service actually grew in 2022. I know a lot of people didn't come back, and that's hard. But we should celebrate that we've actually welcomed in several new couples, individuals, and families at both services, and various events and activities, as so many people are starting to connect with our ministries outside of worship. We should also celebrate that we ended the year in the black, even though it felt kind of like an unstable year. Not only that, but our reserves are healthy even after some big expenses. So what's next? How do we continue to engage with our neighbors? To help us with that, we hired a consultant from Spark Mill and entered into the discernment process. There were multiple staff and leadership meetings, as well as 3 congregational meetings. God is not done with LUMC. While we have a lot of work to do, LUMC is on its way to creating new energy and purpose for our congregation, and becoming a church that thrives in delivering environments and experiences for families, youth, and children to grow in their faith in Jesus. The day after the CLT approved this initiative, the church office received a phone call that a woman who was not a member of LUMC had bequeathed $150,000 to the LUMC youth program. At the end of the year, after going through this process, we launched 2 pilot experiences. The Advent Prayer Breakfast welcomed about 35 men and women who gathered for this traditional start to the season of Advent together. And we held an Experience Christmas event during which about 250 people of all ages came through to experience the story of Christmas and visit Santa, with over 40 volunteers coming together to make it happen. God is not done with LUMC. As we move into 2023, we have learned and are adapting to a world where intergenerational experiences are the spaces where people gather and connect with one another. Let us go forward in the hope that we can continue to innovate and develop environments and experiences where people of all generations can come together to grow in their faith in Jesus.